Good evening, lovely spirits. It's the wise servant here, Mr. Solace. I greet in the sign of the rising sun, peace and wisdom. This evening, I want to discuss the web with you guys. When I say the web, I mean online. It's a very deep thing I want people to grasp, especially the youth, because they were born into this, meaning they don't know life without the web. Fortunately for me and others my age, we grew up before online was a public thing. So it's a deep thing I want y'all to grasp. And when you get full understanding of things, it's a scary thing for the youth and those that's coming into existence as we speak. Because they born into this thing called the web. And it's a very deep thing. Now, I don't want you to get lost into the devices that you log online with, but I want you to focus on online. I want you to focus on the web itself, not the devices that you use to get online, but I want you to focus directly online. Put your focus on that, because that's what I'm discussing in this video. Now, let me get situated. Now, when you're dealing with online, the web, you have to put yourself in a certain perspective to grasp this video and fully understand what I'm saying. Now, I know there's a lot of talk, there's a lot of information being pushed out in today's times. So you may have heard of the web is a tracking device, it's this thing, it's that thing. I'm not here to take away from any of that. But I just want y'all to grasp there's a core purpose for everything. So I get to the foundation. So I want you to put yourself into the perspective of the person or persons who made the web. What do you think their mind was when they made it? What do you think their purpose was for it? I say that because all things have many purposes. A wrench. You could use a wrench for many things. You could use it as a weapon. You can use it for what it was made for. You could use it for a bunch of stuff. So this is what I mean by everything has multiple purposes. But what do you think the core purpose of the web was for? The person that made it, what do you think they had in mind? What do you think their thoughts was and the purpose for it was? And this is where it gets deep, because many people don't think about that. So you have to deal with the name. If you want to get the perspective of what the persons had in mind when they made the web, look at the name. Web. So online is called the web. Now what is a web? A spider's trap. It's a trap. So it's a deep thing I want y'all to grasp. They could have named online anything. We view online as bringing the world together. So they could have called online unification or something like that. But they called it the web. Why? So you have to truly grasp. A web is a spider's trap. Now, online is just the latest in brainwashing technology. And it's a deep thing I want y'all to grasp. Everything you see online has to do with brainwashing. It's a deep, cold-blooded thing. They want to brainwash the brains to scrambled eggs. Grasp. It's so much online. You shift from this thing to that thing. Brain becomes like an egg in a bowl. And it's a deep, cold-blooded thing. But the web was made as a brainwashing tool to push out whatever they want the thoughts of the public to be. So it's like I say, people born, thoughts, perspectives, these things are given to you. People don't seem to tap into their own thoughts, perceive life how they see it, but Thoughts are placed on them. Perspective, things like this is already pre-placed on them. So as you're getting your intellect, you already had someone else's intellect placed on you. Their beliefs, their way placed on you. So it's almost like people build up their intellect off of the people that were here already. So we're born into existence. We have our own conscious. Now we can use our own brain, but it seems to be that people just use the thoughts and conscious of those that came before them, meaning people that's older than them. So we just pull from a bunch of different older people's thoughts and we create our own conscious. So people will say, no, I have my own ideas, but their ideas just consist of a bunch of other people ideas that, they took some from this, took some from that. So nobody creates thoughts or creates their own thoughts in today's times. If you notice, everybody just takes a piece from this thing, that thing, and people are not birthing their own thoughts. So it's a deep thing. And the reason for this is because of thousands of years of brainwashing. And till you get to the time we at now where you at the web. And this is the highest level of brainwashing technology in a long history of brainwashing the public. It's deep. Brainwashing started with language, the language system. Grasp. I know most people don't think that far back to themselves to say, damn, why did men begin to talk? What was the point? Most people will say, man, they had to communicate with each other, but you have to grasp. Men were men before they spoke. Common sense should tell you that. A man's a man whether he opens his mouth or not. Whether a baby grows up and learns how to speak, because you have to grasp, this is something that you pick up because you hear it. But if a baby was born and never heard words or language, the baby would never have language. It would just speak. It's a deep thing. I don't want to, because that's a whole nother topic that people not aware of with language. But I'm just saying, making a point. If a baby didn't hear no language, it wouldn't have one. But it's still a human. It's still a person. Feels, thinks, has its thoughts, knows what it knows, sees what it sees. But it just has no language. Therefore, it can't be told anything. Grasp. When you're dealing with a baby, you can't tell a baby anything. You have to show the baby. Now, when you're dealing with showing, this is proof. So when you're dealing with a baby in its beginnings, it's all truth and show. Because baby don't know what you're talking about. So this is like man in his beginnings before language. You can't tell a man anything. You can't brainwash him, lie to him. You can't do none of that because ain't no language. If you grasp what I'm saying. Language was the first brainwashing tool. That's why it's called the language system or whatever you call it. But it's a system. And these people have their language. These people have their language. All of this is calculated, decisive planning against the population. So like when you read in the Bible and they say, oh, the Lord came down and confounded their language and now the place was called Babel. It's a deep thing I want y'all to grasp. That all has to do with brainwashing in a sense. Well, not brainwashing, but scrambling the brainwashing. I guess you could say to start over better. You brainwash the people, they all have one language, but then they begin to do great things. You're like, hold on. Give them different languages. Split them up. Don't have them together because that's not good. So I'm just giving you the perspective of those that are in power. You create a thing to control a population, meaning language, because now you can use language to lie to people, place perspective on their thoughts. So it's like I said in the beginning, how people just pull from others' thoughts. The reason that happens is because of language. Had we had no language, you would know life how you perceive it. All of your thoughts would be yours. Grasp how deep that is. You wouldn't be lost into another man's hypothesis or his theories, because there would be no words for him to tell you anything. He would have to show you anything he's speaking of. And we know in today's times, if that was what the case was, you probably wouldn't have 99% of the people speaking, teaching. You wouldn't have them speak. You wouldn't have them doing anything. So it's a deep thing I want you to grasp. Language was purposely made for brainwashing. Y'all have to grasp. Before you had rulers, there had to be a time where there was no rulers. Everything has a beginning. So you have to think. Before rulership, it had to be one way. And then you had rulership, where men begin to rule over one another. Well, you have to have tricks of that trade to make it work. And language was the first trick of that trade. You got to get people speaking. Therefore, you can place thoughts into their mind with the word. Shape and form their thoughts in their mind to where they don't use it, but you use it for them. Meaning you give them thoughts, you give them ideas, you give them options to live in. There's an abundance of options in life to live, but as y'all can see, we only live a few. And that seems to be that's all that's in the basket. So it's a deep thing I want y'all to grasp. Pardon my hair, it's late. You know I ain't with all the foo-foo, goofy stuff. I keep it 1,000. Just how I was looking before I started the video. So, you know, y'all ain't special. Real shit. But, language. First brainwashing tool. Now, language can only do so much because, you know, people get to speaking. So next thing, it's a brainwashing tool that you realize after you make it, okay, this ain't that accurate. Because now that we have language, we can brainwash them, but they can brainwash each other. So you kind of get the realization, okay, language is cool for brainwashing, but it's really not, it's not efficient. Because the next goofbag dodo bird fool could tell his mother, you get my point? So you like, damn, I just created an out of control thing now. You know, it's like energy without control. So just everybody got it. It's like, god damn. So then, you know, this is where you get books in the school system. It's a deep thing I want y'all to grasp. When you're dealing with language, when Christopher Columbus and them first came to America, as you can see, the first thing they did was begin to shape and form the language that was used here. Why? Because they couldn't brainwash the natives or tell them anything if they don't speak the same. Now you have to grasp, they could have adopted the native language. You have to grasp, all the white people knew the native language when they came here. Before the natives knew English, before the language in America was English, it was the native tongue. The white people came here, they learned that tongue first. This is the only way. And then they drew them into their tongue through the offspring. So you have to grasp. But that first generation of white men that came here, they all knew the native tongue. The natives didn't know their language. You got to remember, you had different Europeans here. So some of them had different language. But whatever the case is, they all learned the native tongue. Now, I say that to say this. Why the language of the land ain't one of the native languages? Why was it shaped and formed and eventually pulled into English? Because like I said, they all knew the native tongue. This is the only way they would have survived here. They would have had to learn that first. So why not just keep it one of those? That would have been easier. Why try? You get my point? You come to the land, you learn the language, and then you shape and form it to pull it all the way back to your language. Why would you go through that struggle? So you have to grasp, a person's only going to go through all of that for a purpose. And it's for brainwashing. You can't brainwash people in their own tongue. You can't learn a person's language and then try to tell them something. You get my point? It's not going to work. So you have to bring them into your language where they're not familiar. Then you can shape and form the mind. So it's just like before we had language. Then you got language for the shaping and forming of the mind. So it's a deep thing I want y'all to grasp when you're dealing with language. First, that's like the first levels of brainwashing. Now, we all view language as a good thing, and we view everything in life as a good thing because we lost into desires and we lost into the handicaps. We don't realize what these things truly block us from. We don't think before men had language. Excuse me. We don't think before men had language they still communicated and how that was like. And what did language steal from us? Because y'all have to grasp everything we get, it takes away something. So it's like we have online and the web and we have all our devices, but they take away from y'all brains. Like truly. People used to remember a lot. You had to. People were more observant. Now people are snap a photo. The mind is not being worked. So if you notice in today's times, people are like shallow-brained. Almost simple-minded. If you really truly just tone in on in the depth, you will see like, damn, people really are a little, I don't want to say the wrong word and insult anyone, but even our smartest is almost like they're not thinking at all in nothing, really. It's almost like something is interfering with people truly going in depth in thought as they once did. And it's because of that. So my point is everything that we get, that we view as a good thing and it's a benefit to us, meaning a handicap. When I say handicap, I mean make a thing easier, like a microwave. It's a handicap, meaning it's a quick solution for cooking. It's a substitute for cooking. It's quicker, but it's truly a handicap because you know that shit had you all types of sick. So it's a deep thing, but my point is that, everything we get, it comes with it takes away from something so valuable from the life. So just like online, all the devices we have now, it takes away from y'all brain. Most people can't even multiply that good anymore. When I was growing up, everybody at least knew they 12 times 12 timetables. Meaning 1 all the way up to 12 times 12. And today times, people don't really know nothing. They Google everything. So they use the thoughts of others. And this is where it's scary because you don't even know whose thoughts you're pulling from. It's deep, it's cold-blooded, but language was the first form of brainwashing. Then you had books in the school system. Now, we view books in the school system as a great thing, and this is how you learn, and this is how you get smart. But this is how you get brainwashed by others' thoughts. It takes away from your perception. Before man begins to think on his own and has his own imagination, he's given one from a child with the children's books we have. So these things shape and form your mind from early. Before a child uses his own mind and begins to create his own imagination, he's given one. And he uses these different imaginations that he's giving from these books and things he hears, so language and books, he pulls from these things to create his own imagination. So we'll have our child and we'll say, our child got a great imagination. He has an imaginary friend. But his imaginary friend will be something that's already here, if you get my point. His monster or whatever he created, it will be a little bit of this thing that he heard, a little bit of that thing that he heard, but it's truly not coming from his thoughts and his creative juices of the brain. It's just being pulled from other thoughts, from other people's thoughts. So it's a deep thing when you're dealing with books and the school system. We view these things as how you learn, but it's for you to learn how they want you to know. I know I said that all wrong, but Just follow me. You know, sometimes I get a little thrown off in my words. But books in school is for learning what a person wants you to know. So it's not in a benefit for you. You didn't make up the book or the school system that you're a part of. You're the brainwashed in it. So you have to grasp. School does not teach all the children unique to themselves. This is how it would have been done in the past before you had the system. The school system. Children would have had to been taught uniquely to how they were. It's just like you see in your household. All the siblings are different. But you know, the parents, they just reach them however the child is. He's different than him, so you got to do him like this. And we've all heard this, so let's not get lost. You got 5 siblings in a household, and the parents deal with them all, each according to how they are. So they teach them, talk to them according to how they are. And this is how it normally is in life. You let people be them, and you just teach them how they are, and they grasp their way. But our school system isn't like that. Everyone is taught the same, shaped and formed to be the same. Think the same. Have these thoughts only. View things this way only. Unless you're told otherwise. And this is my point. It's a brainwashing thing. We never put ourselves before these things. We're born into them. So it's just like I said with the web. Those that's born into it, it's a scary thing. This is how those that were before books and the school system that was here was foreseeing things for the generations to come. Like, damn, I feel sorry for those that's born into these books and school systems that we watching them form. Because they know the underlying purpose. They're there from the beginnings. So they watching them build up the schools. They watching them write the books. They see the agenda like, oh, they really building buildings to brainwash people into knowing things how they say it is. So you got to think back into those times. The ancients like, damn, this is sad. They building these schools. What's a school? Shit where they tell you what they want you to know. Like, they make your brain how they want it to be. And you know, they like, oh, this is crazy. But we born into this school and books. So we just like, nah. That's how you see how they condition the mind so much that we say, man, that's how you supposed to learn. Grasp that. Tell a man in the daytimes, you can't learn shit from no book. You can't learn going to school. He gonna look at you and tell you there's something wrong with you. This is how conditioned. The mind is so conditioned, man. Even y'all hearing me say this. You got some people that went to school. You got some people that teach it's educational to read. You know, you got a lot of black brothers and sisters out here teaching, pick up the books, and they hear this, they pride their ego. They like, damn, he right. But the pride and ego is like, man, fuck that. So this is what I mean by the brainwashing. It's threaded in so nicely. It taps into the pride and ego of a person. To where they're overlooked. Damn. I'm helping a goddamn system that's oppressing my brain. They overlook that and they'll force their anger towards me. And view it as though he's calling me out. And I'm not as wise as him. And it truly don't have nothing to do with that. It's just the deep truth. We was born into this. We got to stop defending shit that we didn't create. You'll have brothers argue me down. Man, the books in this. Man, my religion is blah, 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 blah. And it's like, brother, you did not make that up. We got to stop getting lost in the fighting over things that we have nothing to do with. You follow a thing, cool, you follow a thing. But you can't never get lost that you did not make that thing up. You weren't in it from the beginnings. So you truly do not know the mindset of those that created this. All things will take their own, they will become what they become. But it's very important to know the beginnings. Like, you got a lot of people that don't know in the beginnings of Christianity, it was forced. People were crucified if they wouldn't be a part. You gotta be a Christian or you gonna die, motherfucker. Then you got it to today times where people are willing Christians. And they don't understand the brainwashing and the bloodshed that went into this to make it that way today. So now when they hear me say, man, y'all lost into this religion shit, they like, oh my God, the devil's gonna get him. That boy mind lost on the devil. You ain't thinking to the beginnings of things. We get lost and that's what I mean. We get quick to defend what we did not create and what we don't know the beginnings of. And it's a deep, cold-blooded thing, because in that, we help oppress ourselves and others. All this stuff was made to oppress the masses. Religion, all that. It's like I said, you go back to the beginnings of Christianity, it was a forced thing. They ain't never heard of Christianity. They had to force it on people. You gonna be a Christian or you gonna die. You gonna tell your kids to be a goddamn Christian or you gonna die. This ain't no joke. They put you on a cross and light it. Y'all think on some weird, oh, you doing like Jesus, I'll take it. Wasn't nothing to take. You was gonna die. Horrible, so everybody could see. And you gonna be a Christian. Period, nigga. We gonna nail you to the cross and then light it. That way you ain't got to worry and, oh look, I'm gonna endure like Jesus. Nigga, fuck you, nigga, burn you. Motherfucker could die instantly. Let them see. Everybody gonna worship this shit. Period, nigga. Are you gonna fry? So then you get people telling their kids, man, you better learn this Bible. Learn every word in this motherfucker. Because if a white man happen to come across you and ask you if you were Christian, you better go beyond able to prove it to him. You better be able to recite this shit so he believe you. So it was like that since in the past. I want to give you the emotion with it. They tell their babies, man, you better learn this shit word by word. White man run up to you and ask me, you better recite this shit. Fuck that book. You can say that between us, but when you get out in that world, you better know that goddamn book. You better say you believe in Jesus, blah, 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 and you a Christian. Or they gonna crucify your ass. And this is how the brainwashing began. The kids learn the book, they begin to teach this, and it's a self-preservation thing. That becomes just the whole purpose of what it was for. You force people into a thing so that they normally just go into it. So before men worked and slaved, it was forced on them. Until after generation, you born into a thing, then it's normal. So anything can be a reality just as long as the person's born into it. If that makes sense to y'all. You can brainwash a person into anything. Just as long as they're born into it. So we view books in school as this great learning system, failing to realize this is what separates us from the true learning. So it's just like I said with the devices we have. They interfere with your brains. Thinking and stuff. It's the same with the books in the school system. It interferes with people learning directly from the source, the life. And that was the purpose of these things. You see how cold-blooded that is? You can always see the purpose of a thing just from looking at the source of it. You got the life, you got before people had books, and before people had language. And they grasped. They endured. The same way we do. So you have to grasp. Then they had the language, then they had the books. And what did these things interfere with? Because they interfered with something. And that's my point. When you read in the book, it's taking you away from grasping life. Grasp that. It takes away from you being able to perceive life in your pure thoughts. So now you have people that believe in aliens, flat earth, many different things, but these are not their thoughts. These are things they heard that they said, this sounds pretty cool, or this makes sense more than what I thought. What I thought prior, which was someone else's thoughts that they had prior. So a person believes the earth is a globe because this is thoughts that were given to them. Then a person says, no, the earth is flat. And then y'all say, oh, yeah, it's flat. But you see how the thoughts are continuously giving to you. You're never pulling from your source. Therefore, you don't even hear men go beyond round and flat. Look how stuck our brains are. People don't even, you ain't even heard nobody say, man, you know what, Earth is the shape of a star. You don't hear this. You just hear flat around. Ping pong brained. First it was flat, now it's round. Now it's going back flat again. Then it's going to be round again. But you see how the brain just ping pong pong back and forth from the thoughts that were given. And that was the whole purpose of these things. Language, books, the school system, to brainwash people, to not think for themselves, but to have the thoughts that were given to them. And these thoughts are controlled thoughts. So when you sending your babies to school, you need to truly grasp what's happening. It's a deep thing. They being robbed of their thoughts and their ideas. The things that the life bestowed upon them, because we're all unique and we all have our own individual connection with the life from birth. And we're cut off from that. From birth. Given ideas and thoughts and your mother reading you books and things from, it's just deep. Sent to school from like 5 years old, and you're taught to think and see things a specific way. Therefore, you never have that connection with the source, where you learn directly from the source, the life. So it's a deep thing, and we robbed of everything in life. People don't even realize it. They think everything is just simple. Oh, we got the web. Oh, we got this. Oh, yeah, they brainwashing us. But it's deeper than that. You got to really see. It's like radio and television. This come later. So first you get language, then you get books and school system, then you get radio and television. And what that is, just the third level. Now you're getting into the technology of brainwashing. Because books, schools, and language, this is not technology. This is just knowledge, brainwashing knowledge. But when you get into radio and television, now you getting into the technologies of brainwashing someone's brain through technology. So this is a step up. It's deeper than just words and books, but through vision. See, you got language, you got words. You got language, you got books and school. But a person still got life that they see. So you can only brainwash them so much through the books and the word. Because they still got their own goddamn eyes. You can't take that from them. So things you tell them, you got to shape and form what you say and to go with what they see. And this could create a little bit of a problem. So now you get radio and television, because now you can shape and form what's seen. So it's a deep thing. They can say, oh, aliens is real, and now they can make you see it. So you see how the brainwashing gets more now. It's more in depth. It's more intense. It's more than just books and words now in school, but it's technology. So you got radio and television. Now they're controlling your ears. They're controlling what you see. So now they can make you see an elephant making lion sounds. This is how elephants make this sound. I'm just giving you an example. They can make you see anything now. Take you away from life and seeing life around you. You begin to look at television and listen to radio. And a lot of times when people listening to the headphones and things, they close their eyes. So you see how the brain, the technology, whoever thought to make these things, they thought out every detail because it works perfectly. Person puts on the headphones. This is brainwashing. Radio. And then they close their eyes. They block themselves off from seeing, and they really tap into the brainwashing. So it shapes and forms their perception through the ears. Eyes is for seeing in light. Ears is for seeing in the dark. So when you in the dark, you can't see, but you hear. You listen to every peep. You should begin to see with your ears. Tap into that. They start brainwashing people through the sound. Then you got television. So it's just like Orson Welles. You got the whole alien thing from that, which was a radio broadcasting. Now you got all type of doofbag jerkbags that want to say this thing, that thing. All these things came after that. Meaning, I don't care if you bring up, oh, in the Mona Lisa painting, that was an image of a UFO. This was all said after Orson Welles' radio broadcasting. Meaning, after Orson Welles' radio broadcasting, then people begin to pull for everything they can to say, look, that was an alien too, because now this is real. See how they shape and form the brain. Before the Orson Welles radio broadcast in 1938, which started this whole alien phenomenon, people looked at the Mona Lisas and all these different things and they never thought aliens. They seen the same images, but never thought aliens. Then you see how that was just through the radio, shaped and formed the mind to where now they see what the radio told them to. Aliens. Now they don't physically see any aliens, but you see how popular it is? It's a deep, cold-blooded thing. All these things is threaded into y'all brains because I could never tell somebody that's talking about aliens. They're going to be like, no, it's real. They don't grasp. All of this is made. They going to make aliens. The same way they made the thought in your mind, they going to make it real for you. So that's why when y'all go to the movies, all y'all see is aliens. It's just shaping and forming and brainwashing and instilling it in. You got X-Men, all these comic books, every movie you see got to do with a weird-looking motherfucker. They don't make people just look like regular people no more. So you got to grasp. When I was growing up, all the comic books was regular people. They begin to get weird over fucking time. They begin to be like, not people. So you could go see a regular fucking movie and the shit got like, you could go see fucking Split. And this nigga got multiple personalities. But the next thing you know, at the end of the movie, he pulling bars. He breaking out of jail and shit, pulling the bars apart. And he's not human. And so this is my point. They don't... They instill it in. Radio and television, you dig? They just completely brainwash y'all out. And then y'all argue amongst one another about what one is real and which one is fake, as if y'all came up with this foolishness. So it's just like I say, they plant the thought and then they let y'all run rampant with it. And that's what happens. You'll have a person right now argue me down and say aliens is real. Young Pharaoh believe in aliens. Grasp how deep that is. You got teachers that teach aliens. Dr. Malachi York teached aliens. But grasp how this was, it's undeniable. A person can say whatever they want. No, because we like to defend what we didn't create. So it's deep. If I'm not mistaken, I might be wrong, but Dr. Malachi York, I believe he was born after 1938. After the Orson Welles broadcasting. My grandmother is about 80 years old. She was born a year after that broadcasting. So I want you to grasp. No, Dr. Malachi York made up this alien stuff. That was his own thoughts. No, it wasn't. This had already been into fruition before he was even born. Then you got the 1947 Roswell event. Mind you, 9 years prior to that, you had the radio event that sparked all of this. Prior to that, wasn't nobody thinking about no goddamn aliens. So this is my point. You got people in today's times that believe in aliens and they'll argue me down as if they made this stuff up. Forgetting it was planted and seeded. This is how deep the brainwashing is embedded. That you can't even remind a person like, hold on, go to your beginnings. Before all of this weird stuff was placed into your thoughts through the ear and through the eye. Go back before all of that. Before you made yourself crazy to where you see this stuff at night and you like, I seen it. Before that. Before you see a regular goddamn stray cat in the forest and you like, that was an alien. Because people get themselves crazy to this point. They see regular shit and they be like, no, that was this. And it's like, get real. It's deep. One day, because I live close by the airport, I seen the The plane landed, and when it come in, it looked like a star. Because I watched the stars that night. And they got a certain look. They blinker. It's deep when you're dealing with the stars. But when a plane get real close, when it's landing, it looked like a star. Literally coming out the sky. Because it's blinked the same kind of way. And the way the lights are, they reflect the same way the stars reflect. So it was an interesting thing. One night I was looking, I'm like, oh shit. Fucking star falling out of the sky. And I had to realize to myself, oh shit, nigga, that's the plane. Because it was a foggy night. So you just see like, it was scary as fuck. Till I realized like, hold on, that's the plane. You know, it eventually got into formation where I could see it. And I'm like, oh, that's the plane. But that's my point. Our thoughts are shaped and formed by all this weird shit. To where you see what you normally see and you like, oh, that's something else. People drive themselves crazy with this. And all this interferes with y'all grasping and learning. You see how the radio and television interfere with y'all ears? Because now when I tell you what you know is the truth, all the thoughts and shit you got, they was planted in your mind. Remove those and try to build up on your own conscience. People get discouraged. They argue. They say, no, Solace, you don't know what you're talking about. I hate you. So it's a deep thing I want you to grasp. It's deep. But after you got radio and television, you got the web. Online. The ultimate brainwashing. It's where the people get to do it on their own. So they plant the thoughts and then they let the people run wild online. And y'all at a point now where y'all learning. So it's like I said in the beginning with the Tower of Babel. They gave man language and man had one language and they began to do great things. And they said, no, we this brainwashing thing is wrong. We got to resituate it and give them all separate language and split them up. Because if it's too many of them together, they can do too much. So you keep small packs. And that's what online is. They say, whoa, hold on. We don't want to have them on a straight course of thought. But give them many different thoughts and, let them go crazy. So it's deep. Y'all be thinking it's so cold-blooded. People be on here thinking they spreading knowledge and truly waking people up. They don't realize they sleep. You don't even... It's hard to explain to people in today's times. It's like 99% of the stuff y'all see online, it comes from what y'all teaching against. So y'all like, oh, we got this oppression and this is that, and y'all be teaching what y'all just completely brainwashed into not realizing it's a part of the oppression. That you teaching against, you teaching forward. So everybody's going against the system, but they not. They just don't realize it. They teaching something, they're teaching through one of the system's tools of brainwashing. So everybody just tapped into some form of the system. So you hear this thing, you hear that thing. Flat Earth, globe Earth came from the same people, those that rule the system. And then the public get lost into competition with one another. Oh, the Earth is flat, the Earth is round. You got the globers and the flatters. Mind you, these two thoughts, these two hypotheses, they came from the same people. You got to grasp, before Earth was round, it was flat. And that was scientists of that time. And then we get to our times, they said, no, Earth is round. Same scientists. And now you got the same scientists of today say, no, the Earth is flat. Just fuck with y'all mind and y'all be like, ooh, new generation. They hear new shit. They like, ooh, flat Earth. They too fucking dumb to realize that's not new. Completely dumb. Like, this shit is weird. Like, completely weird. You say dumb stuff. The Earth is flat. It says it in the Bible. 4 corners of the Earth. 4 corners is north, south, east, and west. I said this like 50,000 times. So if you heard this before, it came from me. I said this like 2 years ago. Flat don't got nothing to do with 4 corners. I need y'all to grasp. Secondly, the Bible is a brainwashing tool because it's a book. I don't care what book you speak of. It's a brainwashing tool for you to see things how a person wants you to see it. Their way. The book is not telling you, oh, look at this thing like this. the way you want. It's telling you what the book says. And you grasp from that perspective. So it's never good to use a book and say, oh, what the Bible said. The Bible's not a person. It's not alive. Get fucking real. Just the level of intellect is just really low. Like real low. But books is good for exercising your eyes. I'll say that. Other than that, you're going to get brainwashed the fuck out. And as y'all see, man, y'all read these books, y'all listen to these radio stations, this music, y'all watch these television shows, and it brainwashes y'all completely out. And y'all don't realize it. And even if y'all do, you so brainwashed and conditioned that it wouldn't even matter. So it's like me. If you go to my channel, I got almost 1,000 videos exposing deep shit that'll make you say, damn, I didn't. And it don't mean nothing to the minds, though. Because people still dumb. You just go right back to, say, yo, you know you a slave? Word, I didn't realize that. And then they wake up and go right back to work. And it's deep. The conditioning is threaded in. It's like cold-blooded. But you got the web, and that's the... I ain't going to say the final, because it's going to be more stages of brainwashing. Like, you know, they got other forms of brainwashing, but these is more harsh. I'm talking about, you know, just the public at will. You got brainwashing that's at will. Meaning if you dumb enough to indulge, stupid, enjoy. So it's like when books in the school system first started in America. The natives is like, I ain't fucking with that shit. That's that brainwashing shit. White people wouldn't even go to that shit. If a white nigga was from another country, the Dutch niggas wasn't going to the British niggas' school. Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. It was a joke. A British nigga try to give a Dutch nigga his book, he's like, get the fuck out. Get out of here with that dumb shit. Like, so it wasn't like, you wasn't brainwashed. You know, fuck out of here with your shit, man. But you gotta grasp over time. They catch. And then people willingly go to the brainwashing. So it's a deep, cold-blooded thing. But you got willing brainwashing, meaning, you know, people just indulge on their own. And then you got brainwashing that's like a matter of force, like hypnosis, and they got all type of stuff in today's times. I don't feel like going into that. It's going to make the video longer, but they got all types of stuff that have people completely tweaked out. You could control and brainwash someone through drugs. So a lot of the drugs y'all use, all these stuff, like a person that's bipolar and they say, oh, take this medicine, and that's just to brainwash them into being however they want them to be. Dope fiend mode, whatever the case may be. But the prescription drugs y'all take are not real drugs. They're artificial. So, you know, they're made for a purpose. We want him to be in a dope fiend mode. So the drug is made for that, to make you like that. So it's deep. And we just get lost and we fall into all these things completely ignorant of our own thoughts to even say, hold on, what am I doing? It's like threaded in. We talk big stuff, I know this, I know that, and everything a person starts speak be other what was already said. Other people's thoughts and ideas from before. And you just take some from this and take some from that and act like you really wise. And this is what people do in today's times. It's a deep thing. This is why I always say the sperm is the spirit, and I got my own understandings. I reach for other understandings because that's what y'all into. So I'll teach from the Bible. I'll teach from ancient Kemetic writings. I'll teach from the Enuma Elish, the Book of Jasher, a whole bunch of different stuff. But that's because y'all familiar with that. Y'all ain't familiar with the sperm is the spirit because I'm the first person saying this. But it's in all those other different writings, so to say, in a sense. So it's just a matter of you learning just like the source. Whoever made these books, they learned from a source. They seen and perceived things themselves. You be that for yourself. And then you get things like, oh, the sperm is the spirit. So this is how I begin to grasp, by learning directly from the life. Tapping in, understanding. Whoever came up with whatever knowledge we have here came from a man. And he tapped into something. So I have to be able to tap into that as well, because the life gives to us all the same. Access is a matter of you. So we say, oh, we don't have access. You don't have access because you say you don't have access. But what the life provides for all is, you can't make it inaccessible. So it's just like food. You go to the supermarket and the store to buy food, but the life still produces food out all in the forest and everywhere you can pretty much go. Food is still produced. You just don't know how to manufacture the food and turn it over into the things that you want. So I see people walk by tomatoes and all that, because they don't know how to make the tomatoes, ketchup, and this thing or that thing that they buy from the supermarket. So it's a deep thing you got to grasp. This is what I mean by ain't no such thing as no access. People don't use the access because they're conditioned and brainwashed into the system, which is their only form of access. So whatever the system says they have or don't have, they believe this. They don't realize it's a whole life outside of the system, and the system is this small. All the knowledge you could ever get is all there in that little speck that you pulling for, and all these books and this ancient text and what this ancient great civilization did. That's all lost shit. That's all was brainwashing for that time. And you getting caught into that. Webs and webs of brainwashing. You got your own brainwashing of this time that you need to be cleansing your conscious of. And y'all pulling for ancient brainwashing techniques, ancient Kemetic brainwashing techniques, and y'all think this is knowledge. Y'all forget this is all provided by the rulers of those times for the public, for brainwashing them. And y'all pull for so many different forms of brainwashing that at this point y'all brains is like a web. Cold-blooded deep. What a wicked web we weave. And so that's what they say. It's the wise servant here, Mr. Solace, for some percent. Peace and wisdom.